the news today, and you'll see a world fracturing, a grueling trade war between the US and China, sweeping economic sanctions, and the rapid expansion of a global bloc called BRICS. To the average observer, this looks like a collection of random geopolitical crises, but we are actually watching a coordinated assault on the invisible architecture that runs the entire global economy. This is the price hierarchy, the global division of labor designed by the United States after the Cold War. It functions as a pyramid, divided into 4 clear tiers: resources, manufacturing, knowledge, and finance. At the base, nations like Russia and various African countries provide foundational resources. These inputs flow directly into the layer above, the manufacturing tier, where China operates as the world's primary factory. But the United States engineered the system so it could sit alone at the apex. By controlling global finance, America dictates the rules for every layer of the pyramid sitting beneath it. The resource and manufacturing tiers are now attempting to dismantle the peak of this structure, shifting the weight of the global hierarchy that has stood for decades. To understand this rebellion, we first have to look at how America built this pyramid by removing the physical limits of empire. Historically, a global power's reach was strictly capped by the finite amount of physical gold it held in its vaults. You could only grow as far as your metal could take you. In 1971, Richard Nixon changed that. He permanently severed the US dollar from the gold standard, effectively removing the physical limits on American economic expansion. Without gold to back it, the dollar's value became dependent on global demand. To keep the currency strong, the United States had to ensure that every nation absolutely needed to use it. The US dollar transformed from a representation of physical metal into a global game of leverage. It was a system that required the entire world to participate in order to survive. To create that massive global demand, America turned to a defining strategy in the 1980s, a geopolitical bargain with China. The US gave China massive concessions, access to American consumer markets, shared advanced technology, and deployed the Navy to protect Chinese shipping lanes. The trade-off was that China had to lock itself into the manufacturing tier of the pyramid, conducting its new global trade exclusively in US dollars. This allowed America to outsource its hard labor and manufacturing. By moving the physical work offshore, the US could sit at the top of the pyramid and focus entirely on finance. In this context, finance is the creation of money for the purpose of creating more money, an industry completely divorced from physical resources. America secured its global position by engineering a system where its primary rival's economic growth automatically fueled the dominance of the US dollar. This pyramid was inherently unstable. America's focus on top-tier financial speculation eventually turned the global economy into a casino. The result was the 2008 global financial crisis, a collapse that nearly destroyed the entire economic architecture. To save the global economy from total collapse, China initiated a massive spending spree, investing heavily in physical infrastructure and shipping. Having bailed out the system, China made a calculation. They demanded a seat at the top of the pyramid as a true equal to America. But America refused to share the apex. This triggered the aggressive tech blockades and trade wars initiated in 2016, designed to push China back down the pyramid. The 1980s bargain was shattered. Once the manufacturing engine realized the financial apex would never share power, the conflict became inevitable. We are now living through the structural collapse of this economic pyramid. Russia is weaponizing the foundational resource tier. By restricting critical grain and energy, they're attempting to pull the base out from under the global system. Simultaneously, China is leading the BRICS alliance to build parallel financial systems that bypass US dollar control. This struggle is not a traditional fight over borders. It is a fight over who gets to dictate the rules of global trade. The centralized financial system is splintering as these rival blocs build their own infrastructure for trade, creating a global economy where the US dollar no longer holds a total monopoly.